you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
Do you feel it?
Yes, we do.
A worldwide awakening is upon us. Welcome to the Universal Consciousness Show. The Universal Consciousness Show, where we explore topics such as UFOs, aliens, banned medical cures, as well as classified secret knowledge. Come question your holographic existence. Share experiences from the other side. This is a show that will expand your mind as we decrypt the symbolic messages locked away deep within your DNA. And now, your guides for this magical journey. The hosts of the Universal Consciousness Show, Agi Nast and Diana Seraphim.
Yes, hello. You are listening to the show for the thinking global citizen. And you know, there's a lot less of those than there is of the 7 billion people living on this ball of mud called Earth. So feel proud because you are one of the few. Listening to this show, you are with us. And we are in a community of our own, far outside of the box, where the real exciting stuff is. So today we have a very fascinating guest with us. But first, let me tell you how you can connect with us. My name is Agi, and I'm one of the hosts. And my co-host is Diana. She is about 5,860 miles straight east of me, over in Germany. How are you, Diana?
I'm fine. I'm happy to be here. Hello, everyone.
All right. And for those of you that like to hear this show again, you will find us on the archives where we place it in many different places, and our website, and on YouTube under Universal Consciousness Show. It'll be up a little bit later, maybe late this evening, something like that. And on Facebook under my name, Universal Consciousness Show, and we're going to put it a lot of different places. And you'll find us on iTunes, TuneIn, Twitter, and places where I'm, make sure that it is. And of course, also on kcorradio.com website for the radio station, and you'll find us in the archives under Universal Consciousness Show. And while you're in there, poke around on the other shows too. You'll be amazed. There's some really fascinating shows that is out there. And down at the bottom, there is a donate button. And if you feel like you want to help us that way too, we would love to see it, because it tells us that we are doing the right thing. And anything that comes in through the donate button while the show is on, it will go to the credit of the Universal Consciousness Show. So we will appreciate it. And now to the guest. We have Hummingbird Jewel. And she is a mystic and spiritual teacher. At the age of 61, she claims, sure don't look it, but now she has studied spirituality for 25, 30 years. And her early psychic experiences led her to exploring the universe. And through a lot of hardships, physical ailments, drug addiction, homelessness, but she never gave up. She had abilities and a dream. So she went from being a maid to now having a maid. And that's what winners do. I love success stories like that. She now spends her days helping others. She's a psychic, and that comes through clairvoyance, channeling, and also a healer. She is also a level 2 well-point hypnosis practitioner and can help you have a look at your past, even before you were born, future lives, and you can retrieve messages from the other side of the veil. Now that could turn interesting. And she has become a spiritual coach for the ones out there seeking the higher realms and only have a flashlight to look for it. So she's also a coach for reversing the aging process. And well, on the flyer that came with this show, look at her. She doesn't look a day over 31. Well, maybe a week. That's as far as I go. So, and she has also been donating her time. She is a volunteer for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Has done that for 10 years. And she has a spiritual mind expanding organization called 1 Million Meditators. Now that sounds interesting. We should all join in on that one. And her YouTube channel, which I absolutely recommend that you go and have a look at, Hummingbird Jewel. You'll find her on YouTube. Subscribe to it, and of course, once you subscribe, you got to click the little bell next to it so you can get notifications when the next shows come up, and you will enjoy it. There's pearls in there. I know that. I've been there. She also has her own cosmetic brand, and I wanted to mention some about that. That sounds interesting for you ladies and gentlemen out there. And the hypnosis that she is dealing with is somewhat of a spiritual nature, and I wanted to explain a little bit more about that too, because that's kind of a new one to me that deals with that type of it. And then, before you don't want to hear any more jabber from my part now, welcome to the show, Hummingbird Jewel.
Oh, what a beautiful introduction. Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me on Universal Consciousness, and thank you to KCOR Radio, Augie and Diana. It's wonderful to be here today.
Yeah.
Hello, Julia, and thank you so much for being with us today. Really, your bio is so impressive, and I'm so impressed about everything that you do and your dedication to your work. Just to begin it with, you mentioned here that you had your own personal experience of mystical events, which I suppose that brought you on this path. Where are you now? Can you tell us how did it all begin for you?
Well, like a lot of people that have gifts, it started in very early childhood. I was raised by atheists. I did get a little bit of Christian upbringing, just a little bit. My mom yanked me out of church and told me there was no God and the Bible was a lie and Christians were evil. And it kind of gave me this clean slate. So I had a concept in my little tiny head of God. But all of a sudden you believe your mother, right? And all of a sudden that's taken away. Well, I started having spiritual experiences, and at one point I was taken to another planet by two beings, and I mean it was so absolutely real. And then when I came out of it, I just kind of didn't have anybody to talk to. I'm a little child. And so I thought, oh, it's just a dream. Like you just kind of try to justify it. And so as I grew up and I kept having these experiences, for example, my father was from Norway and he told me about the midnight sun when I was 8 years old. And I just got it fixated in my head. I wanted to see this midnight sun. Well, 8 years later, I am 15 years old. I am in Bodo, Norway, which is inside the Arctic Circle by myself watching the midnight sun. So this is showing you examples of how, manifestation abilities were happening to me. Although I didn't put all the pieces together, and I actually was kind of in denial about it a little bit. I would try to justify, oh, it was a dream, but you start realizing when there are no coincidences. I was an avid reader. It saved me. I had a very abusive childhood. My mother was a little bit of a mommy dearest, and I do love my mother. I'm glad I'm here. want to demonize my mother, but I had a lot of abusive background. So I turned to books and I started reading voraciously. And that's kind of how my path was started. I learned from books. I learned from my own experiences and watching the things that were happening and unfolding in my life at a young age.
Okay. And also, for those of you listeners out there that is listening to this on your lunch break and got to go back to work, why don't you tell us also your website so they can know how to get a hold of you, and also maybe mention the YouTube channel again.
Thank you, Augie. Okay, my name is Julia, but you won't find me by my name. I go by Hummingbird, like a little hummingbird that flies, Jewel, Jewel. If you Google search Hummingbird Jewel, you'll find me on my website will pop up. My Facebook is open to the public, but my website is hummingbird-jewel.com, and under search on YouTube, Hummingbird Jewel, and you'll find me.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, those spiritual experiences that you may have had, is there anything deeper about that you want to mention?
Well, as far as the psychic abilities go, I have audible. I'll receive messages. I call them incoming messages, which is what happens when I'm doing a vibrational reading, which I'm going to do at the end of the show. I'm going to do a little mini version of a reading. So I'm a clairvoyant, so I receive images. Like sometimes I'll see a picture of something. I'm not exactly always sure what everything means, so I will convey it to my clients or who I'm reading for. I do receive audibles, which, a voice. And I've had several audibles throughout my life in pretty, sometimes they were dire circumstances. One time I was ready to go off a cliff in a car. I hit some black ice, and I heard the shouting and it just said, relax. And it's like always this big, deep, booming voice. So it's very commanding. It doesn't happen all that often to hear the actual, the audibles like that. Mostly it comes in almost like I'm reading my messages, like you'd be reading a book that comes through. I also channel and I write. I have automatic writing. I've been doing that since I've been young also. That started happening in my teens. Like I wrote a poem and I remember writing something. It was like, and the sun was setting, the swans at sea. I remember where the Dharma lies. Well, I spelled Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, but I didn't know what that word was. And so back then we don't have internet, right? I had to go look it up in the dictionary, and it's part of Buddhism. And so, I'd like be writing words I didn't even know what the words were. I'd have to, things like that. And I actually did end up studying Buddhism for a while too. So I really love all the different religions. I'm really open to, I started seeking early, reading Hermann Hesse was my, at 14, and Siddhartha. I didn't even know who Buddha was. I wasn't trained in world religions. I was drawn to all these books, and Jane Roberts, Seth Speaks, very early in my childhood, my teens. So kind of always been seeking,
Yeah. And also Eric Furr is asking a quick question. If you can just, in a really short way, explain, how did you end up with the Hummingbird Jewel? That's such a wonderful name.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Hummingbird was from, my mother got me a deck of medicine cards, which is Native American totem animals. And I chose the hummingbird as my totem. And hummingbirds represent joy. Just open yourself. That's what joy means to me. So I've just been, took that on as my totem. The jewel, Jewel, I was in the Diamond Way Kagu Kayu sect, and it's a Tibetan Buddhism with Oli Nidal. He's still going on, and I studied under him, and I had to do this 10,000 chants to be I guess, baptized or indoctrinated into the sect, however you want to call it, ceremony. And once I was done doing that, they gave me a Tibetan name, Karma Khandro. And that means Princess of the Jewels. And the jewels of Buddhism are the Dharma, the Buddha, and the Sangha. So I just put the hummingbird and the jewel and dropped the S, and that's how I came with that name.
That's how that was born, huh? Okay. Yeah. And a quick also though, you are also a hypnotist, and you specializes in taking people back even before they were born. Speak a little bit about that, because this is something that very few people understand how it will work. And I'm a hypnotist also, so I understand that people need to know, because this can open up doors for them.
Absolutely. The WellPoint hypnosis method is just launched last year. It's brand new. People don't really know about it yet. WellPointHypnosisMethod.com, you can look at on their website, is founded by Christina Winslow and her husband Ted Winslow. Ted Winslow is the genius behind the frequency music, which is a huge aspect of this modality. Now, we are all energy and frequency, and when you attune to your own frequency, soul frequency, you can have a much better session. I always encourage everybody to listen to this frequency music before I take them under. And Christina Winslow is a master hypnotist, and she came up with this method, and she had so many people clamoring for her to do this. She just decided to launch it. So it's going worldwide. I'm a level 2 practitioner. I've been through level 1 and level 2. And actually, I think just this time last year I was studying. But you can go, it's a past life, regressions, parallel future lives. You can go to mystical places, you can time travel, and you can visit the afterlife. But the best part to me is at the end of every session, you get to ask questions to your superconscious mind, and it's called the soul consciousness realm. So before your session, I ask you, what do you want to ask of your higher self? And that is part of my anti-aging secret, because I have my superconscious mind program my subconscious mind to say, increase my telomeres, to increase my HGH, to help my cell regenerate. And your superconscious mind is not going to do anything that's going to harm you. And it might say, well, I can do part of that, but I can't do the whole thing. Or it will answer you. It will speak back to you. It is amazing, amazing modality. And I am just the quantum tour guide. And in a spiritual hypnosis, I am not giving you suggestions so that you're going to hate cigarettes or anything like that. That's a different kind of hypnosis. That's clinical. Spiritual hypnosis, you're just relaxing, and we put you under trance, and with the music, you're listening to frequency music, and then we turn the music off, and I'll take you on a little journey, and then we start the process. It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, and now you've been doing this for a while, so you got some good experiences. Have you had any real success stories with people where they come back and they were totally floored by the information they got?
Oh yeah, I've had this one woman went straight back into France had the big wig on. I mean, she just in a minute, she had this whole lifetime experience, and she saw her husband that she's with now back then, and it helped her with her relationship with her husband now, because there's some things that tied in together. She went to the afterlife, got to visit with an animal that had passed over, and her husband's father showed up in that one. I mean, it's so incredible. And there's also entities will come in, and they usually will block the soul consciousness realm. And so I've been able to help people clear entities. And people sometimes think entities, you say entities and you go, oh, it's evil. Well, they're not always evil. Sometimes they're just attachments, but they've been with you for a while, and where they attach, I'm not sure about that. I don't get into it. If the entity is wanting to cross over, I just cross them over. And like I've had a small child that attached to somebody, and it was just scared. And they'll have a different voice, and it's interesting. And then some of them aren't so nice, and we want to get rid of those things too. And I like to think of them as energetic parasites. They're really, to me, not scary because they have no human form, and they're not, we have a human body and we have free will, but if you're empathic, and sometimes, or you're like, say you're in a hospital and you go under, and sometimes you can pick up things, and you don't even know it. So it's kind of good to clean house.
Yeah. Everybody needs to do that once in a while. Oh, yeah. And I see now that we got 4 minutes left before the break here. And now I'm wondering, though, for what you are doing with on YouTube here. Are you putting out videos, or do you more like tutorials, or... explain what you're doing up there, because I saw a lot of pearls up there about spiritual teachings, and also explaining some of the hypnosis and what you can do for people, including the how to reverse the aging process.
True. Okay, so I started my YouTube channel. It's brand new. I'm a baby. I'm looking for my first 1111 subscribers. Please subscribe. That would be the best birthday present for me. I'm turning 61 on the 3rd of October, so please subscribe to my channel. Now, everybody that starts a YouTube channel, they say, focus on one thing. Well, I did not do that. So I have playlists. I have a book review show where I review authors, and I've got some amazing interviews with them. I have my reverse aging playlist. I'm also into reality transurfing. For you reality transurfers out there, I have been led to teach about Tufti the priestess, and that's just a whole nother subject there. And I do meditation with the 1 million meditators, so I will have some guided meditation. So it's a little bit of everything. There should be something for everyone. And then, of course, the reverse aging. I just think that's such an amazing I know Augie does reverse aging too. And It's so, people just don't understand that we were programmed from early childhood that, it's just going to grow old and that's what's going to happen. But what if you were programmed that we didn't get old from childhood? It's a lot about what you think, so.
Okay, and we are we're coming down towards the break here, 2 minutes away. And for those of you that would like to have a reading after the break, wait until during the break or after the break and call in. The first one will get in the chute, and the phone number to call is 702-425-9230. And I understand there is about 472 people running around looking for a pencil right now, so I'm going to say it again. That's 702-425-9230. And the first one into the chute will get the free reading after the break. So now,
it'll be fun.
Yeah, I would love to hear this. And during that reading, I think you are entering into a somewhat of an altered state. So I'm going to leave you alone and let you do your thing. So there will probably be mostly you talk, we listen deal. So here goes the break, and come back afterwards. And boy, this is going to get good.
You're listening to the Universal Consciousness Show. The Universal Consciousness Show. Your weekly connection to the truth.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Share your knowledge by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers find us on Skype at KCOR Radio. It's time to abandon your fear and question what you think you know.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
More awakening awaits.
After this, after this, after this, after this, after this, after this.
The Fenton Files, where it's all connected.
You see, whoever controls technology controls the world.
Come explore a universe full of possibilities. Every Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. The Fenton Files. Go where no other show has gone before.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there.
Whether it be UFOs, aliens, conspiracies, or even consciousness, your host, Lorian Fenton, has a file for that. The Fenton Files. Fenton Files. Fenton Files. Your journey to the truth is but a file away. Live, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The Fenton Files.
Incredibly intense.
Where truth is just waiting to be discovered.
Toxins are everywhere, from the air we breathe to the food we eat and the water we drink. In a world where 80,000 known toxins and heavy metals threaten our very existence, how are you going to protect yourself and your loved ones? Introducing Pure Body Extra Strength, the world's first colloidal zeolite that helps trap and remove toxins as well as heavy metals from your body that are messing with your memory, clarity, sleep, and focus. Don't just take our word for it or the testimonials from our thousands of happy customers. Check out the hundreds of articles and case studies on the National Institute of Health website proving zeolite's powerful ability to remove toxins. For a limited time, listeners to KCOR will receive 10% off their first order. To get started, go to trypurebody.com and enter promo code RADIO10. Again, that's trypurebody.com. Toxic junk is all around us, but now you can take back control of your health and protect yourself by detoxing with Pure Body Extra Strength. You'll be on your way to sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling more energetic. Go to trypurebody.com right now and get started today.
Monday nights are about to become hauntingly good, as Reverend Sean Whittington possesses the airwaves with Vegas Supernatural. Tune in every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Vegas Supernatural, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. There's a war raging between good and evil. The question is, which side are you fighting on? Tune in Monday nights as Reverend Sean Whittington sets the new standard for paranormal radio with some of the most influential personalities in the world today. Vegas Supernatural, hosted by Reverend Sean Whittington, every Monday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The one show even the devil doesn't want you to hear.
Are you ready to go?
It's showtime!
You're listening to the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Break this up.
Broadcasting from the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Their base is so large it has to draw most of its power from the nearby nuclear fusion plant.
The future of radio is here and now.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
It's time, once again, to unravel the mysteries of the universe by connecting the dots to a higher consciousness. This is the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Now the world will begin hearing us.
Share your knowledge by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
It's as simple as that.
Find us on Twitter at KCOR Radio or use hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us on the live chat at KCORradio.com. Back to your enlightened hosts, Agi Nast and Diana Seraphine.
Hello, and we are back with the Universal Consciousness Show, and we are talking with Hummingbird Jewel. She's a psychic and many other things, and we are going to do, or actually she is going to do a reading for someone here. And if somebody wants to call in and get the reading, you can call 702-425-9230. And on Skype, you can also text us your in the text section of Skype there, you can text us your full name, and your date of birth. She would need that in order to do the reading. And this is something that would really be interesting for you. So think about it. We are waiting for anybody to come through. Otherwise, we will do it the other way for plan B. So, and Hummingbird Jewel, here we are again.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the reading process, and so hopefully somebody will call in.
Okay.
But I use the tarot, and it's called the Rider-Waite deck. It's a very traditional deck. It takes place in medieval times, so you've got kings and queens and pages and peasants, and they're very descriptive. So I'm going to describe the card to the people so you can kind of get a understanding. Now, this reading is a mini reading. When I do a full reading, there's much more to it. I actually will look at 18 cards. This time we're only going to look at 5. And then I just usually like to read straight through and what comes through, and then I discuss it with my client. And there's in this deck, you have 4 different suits. You have hearts, and that's love and emotions and feelings. You have, cups. Cups, which are emotions and feelings. And then you have wands, which look like these long sticks with leaves growing out, and the peasants are holding the wands. And those have to do with your career choices, growth, could be school, somewhere where you're growing. Swords have to do with our angst, our sorrows, and our hardships in life. Not everything is all rosy. And then the pentacles, which have to do with finances, could be computers, technical things, business matters. And then there's 28 cards that are called the major arcana. Those are the big secrets, and the other cards are the little secrets. So the major arcana cards, some of them may look a little scary, but they're not. Like there's a devil card, and that has to usually do with our habits. You need to quit biting your fingernails, or you could be drinking too much, or you need to lose some weight or something like that. But it doesn't have anything to do with satanic or evil or anything like that. And there's a death card. It's a skeleton riding a horse, and that's usually things are ending and something new is beginning. It's a card of transformation. So I know people are kind of afraid to have readings, and I understand that, because sometimes I don't want to see either. You're like, well, I don't want to see what's going to happen. But usually it's very confirming and wonderful, and it tells you things that you already know. And when somebody can tell you things that you already know, then you know you're on the right life trajectory. And if I see something that you don't like say you're looking for a job and there's no job in 6 weeks, well, then we got to do something different. We got to restructure your lifeline, and let's pull it in and pull that job in sooner. So it's really nice to have a snapshot of your current life trajectory, because we have the power to change our future. You can never let a psychic tell you that the future is stuck and that's how it's going to be, but they can take a glimpse into it. And that's what I like to do to help people.
That sounds good. Right. Well, how about it, Diana? Do you want a reading?
Yes, if nobody's calling, I would like to.
Divine timing. Okay, I'm going to go right into it. The first thing I do is called an invocation. It's like a prayer. And back in the days before we had high-speed internet, we had something called a modem. And it would take a while for our computers to hook up to the internet. And it would go, and then all of a sudden we'd be waiting and it would hook up. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect with Diana. But what I need everybody out there to do, and everybody that's listening, and Diana, to please just think about the name Diana. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. And I call out to the positive powers of the universe, to my guides, masters, and angels. Assist me to open psychically and become a channel for the light. And this is for the benefit of Diana. I'm going to shuffle the cards. So Diana gave me her first and last name and her date of birth, and I put my hand over it as I did my invocation. And I have been taught this process by the divine guidance. I didn't read a book. I didn't have anybody tell me how to do this. I had divine guidance. So I do readings maybe a little different than somebody else that you might have had a reading for. Okay, and I'm going to pull out the cards. And like I said, we're just going to do a mini reading. The first card is the Seven of Cups. What it shows is a man, and he's looking up into the heavens, and there's 7 golden goblets. One has a head of a woman or a man. One has a divine angel. One has a snake coming out of it. One has a castle. One has jewels. One has a wreath. One has a dragon. So what this card is about, Diana, for you, and this is what's happening right now in your life. This is about all these opportunities that are coming up for you all of a sudden. And you've got to make some life choices. And so you're just kind of looking and you're just kind of saying, okay, is this really where I want to live? And you're looking at your abundance factors, and you're looking at your spirituality, and you're looking at your relationships. So it's really just about you doing this kind of an inventory. I would call it a spiritual inventory. And you're being more like an observer of it. You're not like in the midst of everything and everything's overwhelming. You're kind of taking a little kickback and looking to see really what you want to do with things. And what's crossing you right now is the Knight of Wands. Now this wand, this knight is an action knight. That means his horse is in action, and the sky is blue behind this knight. He has armor on. He has a tunic that has lizards all over the tunic, which means dreams. You are pursuing your dreams. And this has to do with your career path, and you're on the move, and this also could mean that you're thinking about physically moving, like you might be wanting to move into a different place, like an apartment or a house, or actually thinking about moving to somewhere else. But definitely you're in motion with your dreams, with your career, and you're analyzing. In your distant past is the 8 of Wands. These long sticks with leaves growing out, there's 8 of them, and they're flying through the air. Now, the sky in this card is also blue. The skies have a lot to do with what's going on in the background. If it's like lightning and storming, and well, then things are kind of like, uh-oh. But the skies are blue. But this has to do with a flight by air. It could be like you took a trip and you went somewhere, and it kind of really influenced you in your life. And what, for some reason, this flight by air or this trip is having something to do with what's going on right now with you, because that's what's coming up today. It also can mean that you at one time were out of balance because these different wands are uneven. They're uneven width-wise, they're uneven as they're flying through. They're not all perfectly flying through together. And you had to work on balancing out some issues, but they weren't really huge issues, I mean, they're things that you just had to do with probably school, is what I'm getting. In your recent past, you have the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a major arcana card. It shows a dude that looks kind of like a pope or a cardinal. He has this red gown on, and it's very religious. There's 2 monks sitting in there. He has holding up his scepter in his hand, and he's giving this kind of a speech. So the Hierophant has to do with you're trying to get away from the establishment, or maybe you don't want to clock in, clock out anymore. You're wanting some freedom from, I don't know if it's corporation or just freedom. You want more freedom in what you're doing in your, I believe it's your work. That's what I'm seeing. It's an expansion, though. There could be somebody that's dictating over you that you're not too happy with. Like, there gets to be a point in our life where we just want to be the boss. We don't really want to have a boss, and that could be what's going on. What's above you, I love this card, is called the Fool. The Fool is another major arcana card, so you got another powerful card out of 5. That's pretty big. The Fool is at the edge of the cliff, and he looks like kind of a jester, has this like colored garb tunic on, and he has a knapsack with over his shoulder a long stick, and in his hand is a white flower, and he's kind of gaily walking about, and he's at the edge of the cliff, though. And so the story in this card is the Fool is not sure if he should jump off the cliff. He's kind of like, I'm not sure if I really want to do this or not. But what happens is he does jump and he turns into a bird and flies. So this is right above you in the next few weeks. You need to take that leap of faith. That's what this message is saying to you. And the superconscious mind is right there with you, and it shows in the form of a white sun in this card. And the background of sky in this card is golden. So this is about spirituality and taking leaps of faith. And then in your future card, and again, this is like 2 to 3 weeks. People always want to know time, which I don't really like to give them time, is the 7 of Wands. It shows a peasant guy, and he has one of those sticks, right? The wands with the leaves, and he's beating down on about the other 6 sticks. They're coming up at him, and he's on the top of the hill, but the sky is blue again. So you've got a lot of stuff coming at you. You have a lot of things going on, but you are over them. Like, you're handling it. Like, it's kind of like whack-a-mole. One pops up and another one, then you push it down, the other one pops up, and you're like on top of it, okay? So that is the end of the 5 cards. So Diana, are you right now having some spiritual, your present position shows that you're kind of reanalyzing your life right now. Is that going on?
Yes, that's right.
She goes, that's all I'm going to say about that. Are you thinking about moving?
Yes, this is a wish of me, but it is not for now, but I wish to go to live in the village, so I don't like to live in the town.
Got it. Okay, well, it's in your card, so you can manifest that if you want. Are you, you don't have to say things on air in case your boss is listening. Maybe think that at work you might be wanting to get a promotion or maybe do something different at work. I'm not sure if you want to speak to that. What about the Fool and taking a leap of faith? Is there something that you've been wanting to do, but you're kind of hesitating?
Yes, there are 2 things. So at work, I was offered a new contract to be a permanent employee because I was a temporary staff, and they offered me from December a permanent contract. And there is also something where I'm hesitating a lot is I have to do a surgery, and I'm not sure if it's right to do it or not.
Good. Well, that's something that you do need to think about, really. And then if you want to talk to me about this after the reading, because personal things I don't like to get into on air, but after the reading, I'd be glad to help you on that subject. And so anything else? Do you have any questions about your reading? Did you like it?
Well, the thing that I'm most interested in this period of my life is the spiritual aspect of my life. If I'm on the right path to speak like that.
Well, the first card spoke to all of that. I mean, right now you're doing a spiritual inventory is what I saw and what I heard and what I said. And you're definitely, I know this sounds a little cliche, but you're having a period of enlightenment. And I don't know what other word to use. I just cheated and pulled a few more cards so that I could see. and that came out. But it's like a 6-week period. So I don't know if you're in some kind of course or if you're doing any kind of special work, but you're definitely moving towards that. And right now, like just today, you're taking inventory of all things in your life, and spirituality is one of them.
Yes, that's true. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being so brave. I know people are afraid to have readings, and I don't blame you. They think they're scary, and they think that it's going to be something awful. But even if you see something that you don't like, that's okay, because we can help to change it. And that's why I think it's good to take a little look-see, because we have the power of free will and of composing our realities. And I teach how to manifest, and I teach people how to take control of their lives. You don't have to be beholden to somebody's reading. If there's something in there that you don't like, then let's change that, right? Right, Augie?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
So I give readings by telephone, Zoom, and I do email readings. All you have to do is send your name and date of birth, and I type out, like, it's sometimes like 8 or 9 pages of stuff. I describe the cards, I channel, I type it all out. It's personalized. The card descriptions are not personalized. Those I copy and paste. But what comes through for you is personally from me, and that way you have it in writing. You get to keep it. You can look back on it. And so that's one really fan favorite of people. They love the email readings. But I do them both Zoom or also by telephone too.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, when you do these readings, you told me before the show that you feel like sometimes your mind go away, but you keep talking and you don't really know what you're saying. It's just almost like a channeling. Sometimes it comes through. But where does this information come from? Do you have a good understanding of what is the source of the information?
For me, I call them my angels, and I don't believe it's one. I believe it feels like more than one, but it's not like I'm hearing different voices or anything. It just comes through me. But I do go into trance, and I know that because people will say, "Oh, what you told me in your reading came true," and I go, "Really? What was it?" Because I won't remember. If it's recorded, I can hear it, but I actually kind of step aside, and so it's a connection with the superconscious mind and all that is, but I do have divine guidance, and so I just call them my angels. I don't know how else to describe them.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
but what do you mean by I saw in your bio that you have a doctor in divinity. What is that exactly? How can somebody take a doctor in divinity?
The Doctorate of Divinity is an accumulation of, I started studying when I was 15 to 61. So it's really just about an accumulation of years of study, and it's like a wisdom thing. And so it's just a course that I took, and it's a certificate. I mean, pieces of paper can mean something to somebody or not. Titles can mean something to somebody or not. But you can't take away years and years and years of study. And not all of my years was I spiritually fit. I had my periods of drugs and addiction and homelessness. And I had some really difficult times. I have been through some really, really low lows. But all of that gave me my life experience. And I am so empathetic. When I say that I went from being a maid to having it made, it's like I came from the other side of the tracks. And I know what it's like. And now I have this beautiful, amazing life, but it's not without many, many, many years of, bruises and falls and pick me back ups. But now my mission statement, and I received my mission statement, is to teach love by being an example of love. So when I got to choose the certificate, the Doctorate of Divinity, it resonated to me, and I go, yeah, that's what I am.
That's amazing. Very nice. And I don't know if we have time, but I would like to ask you something, because I saw that you are a student of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and you are taking also place to the global meditation. And according to Dr. Joe Dispenza of his new model of thinking, when we talk about the healing, you first have to feel healthy in order to create or to manifest healing. Can you explain, so squeezed in a few minutes, how can one feel healthy when it is in pain?
Right. Okay. Well, I have experience with this because I had 10 to 15 years of severe back pain, and I never spoke to it. I was even taking pain medication, but I felt ashamed of that. And I got led to Dr. Joe Dispenza, not really for the back pain, but I also had emotional addiction to abandonment, believe it or not. You can have emotional addiction. So I started studying epigenetics and meditation, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, went to his workshops, an advanced student. I'm trying to go really fast here. And through the meditation process, you can connect to the superconscious mind, and there is no pain, there is no illness. And what happens is your conscious mind, the ego, the amigo, gets out of the way. You connect to your superconscious mind, and then it can communicate to the subconscious mind, which runs your body. Your subconscious mind never sleeps, or you would die. It takes care of every single cell in your body, every bodily function, but it gets off whack. And I'll tell you why, Diana, because your frequency will be off. So the first thing I always start with anybody is get your frequency attuned. Then get into some meditation, and we can get you connected to your superconscious mind. And of course, WellPoint spiritual hypnosis is a really good way to do that also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see we have actually 3.5 minutes, actually 3 minutes left of the show. So let people know again where they can get a hold of you.
Sure.
So they can, your website, they can also get to find out a little more about your anti-aging, or should I say reversal of aging process. Because look at you, there's something there.
It works. I'm Hummingbird Jewel. Hummingbird, Hummingbird, just like that little bird that flies around. Jewel is Jewel, 2 words. My website is hummingbird-jewel.com. But if you Google Hummingbird Jewel, my Facebook should show up in my website. And if you go to YouTube, and please give me a happy birthday present, subscribe. If you don't want to hit the little bell, I understand that. I'm not all about the bell. I'm just trying to get my first 11 subscribers. I myself, if I want to go to see somebody that I love and I want to see, I check them out. I just go through my subscribers list and watch their videos. But yeah, I would really appreciate it. Hummingbird Jewel, that's how you find me. And my name is Julia Rogers. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. All right. Yeah, now, Julia.
Yes.
If you were going to talk to the whole world and they would listen, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that love is the highest frequency and the most powerful of everything. And that if we could just focus on what is good in this earth, in this planet, in our hearts, if we could focus on what's good about ourselves, and I'm talking about I love myself and self-love, and we could focus on that, I'm just saying all of us, that we could make shift happen in this planet. And I believe that's happening right now. And if you don't know how to self-love, I understand that. I was there, and I can help you with that. I can help you with your journeys, with your angst, with your, I've been through it. I really have. I've been through it. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's like, my mission statement, to teach love by being an example of love.
There you go. And we got 30 seconds left. So we thank you very much for being with us. And thank you so much. Hummingbird Jewel, we will go visit your website again. And thank you for being with us. And next week, we will be right back here on this channel with the Universal Consciousness Show. So until then, be good to each other. Thank you for being here.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
This has been the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly guide to a deeper understanding of the all that we are.
Well, in a few years, it will be a matter of common sense for very many people that they're one with the universe. It'll be so simple.
Live Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, hosts, or their guests, please visit universal-consciousness-show.com. That's universal-consciousness-show.com. Remember, there's a shift coming, a new earthly paradigm, a shift to universal consciousness.
Universal consciousness.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This